Only a few plant species are clonally reproducing. Most clonal plant species are also capable of vegetative reproduction. These plants are often led to adjust their resource investment in sexual and asexual reproduction in order to optimize their fitness. This is called a trade-off, or a compromise between two plant functions, which are internally competing for the limited amount of available resources. For instance, the water hyacinth, Acornia crassipes, reproduces clonally via horizontally growing rhizomes, but it can also produce flowering ramets. The production of floral and vegetative ramets are negatively correlated. On this graph, this dark blue curve shows the number of vegetative ramets in a plant which grows in a resource-abundant environment and produces no floral ramets. The light blue curve shows the ramet production in a plant that grows in a resource-poor environment, which stimulates reproduction via seeds that can disperse further and also bear new genotypes which can be potentially adapted to the survival in this resource-poor environment. Note how the production of vegetative ramets here is somewhat slowed down. This is because the plant also needs to invest some of the limited resources in the production of flowering ramets shown in yellow. As long as the plant invests in ephemeral flowering ramets, it produces fewer vegetative ramets. But once these ramets have accomplished their function, the plant can continue investing in vegetative ramets and continue its growth. Another example of trade-off between clonal and sexual reproduction is observed in Ranunculus reptans. This small plant has nodular growth. When a node is rooted, it can produce rosettes and ramify through prostrate stems. The stems can either remain horizontal, root, and then produce more nodes with rosettes and stems, or the stems can ascend and start to flower. After they have flowered, these stems can also lay down, produce roots, and continue to grow vegetatively. However, the rate at which flowering stems produce prostrate stems is lower than the rate of rooted-only nodes. A trade-off between sexual reproduction and clonal growth was difficult to demonstrate in these species, because clonal growth increases the size of the plant, but also it increases its reproductive output. Therefore, between the absolute number of flowers and the absolute number of rooting nodes was positive. This is not surprising. Bigger plants have simply more resources in general, so they invest more in their growth, whether it is vegetative or reproductive. But if we look at the rate of production of flowering and rooting nodes, which is their proportion out of the total number of nodes in the plant, we see that there is a negative relationship. The plants that have the highest proportion of flowers are usually those that have the fewest rooting nodes. This is an example of how asexual, vegetative, and sexual flowering reproduction cannot be both enhanced at the same time. Investing in one mode of reproduction inevitably slows down investment in the other mode of reproduction.